Today I bought something for you. I was in a flea market and I bought some coins for you. I wanted to show you. This is a German mark. This was a currency of the GDR, of the German Democratic Republic. That's not existing anymore since we were occupied by Western Germany now. So, yeah. These were, you have on one side, you see this one, and on the back side, you see the crest of the German Democratic Republic. Yeah, and these coins were mostly done in aluminium. They were very lightweight, also being large, but they were very lightweight. And except the 20 Pfennig, these were just in brass or covered in brass. So all other coins were aluminium. So, but what could you buy for them back then in the 1980s when this currency was still valid? You have here 5 Pfennig. This was used for buying some roll buns, for smaller ones. For 10 Pfennig, you could buy a double one. You could also send a postcard with these 10 Pfennig. For 20 Pfennig, you could send a letter, for example. Or you could go via tram inside cities, for example. You could buy with these 20 Pfennig. For 1 mark, you could buy a sausage with bread and mustard, for example. And for 2 mark 50, here I have 2, you could buy, for example, butter. 250 grams. Or 2 were, the better one was 2 mark and 50. So, and for rent for a flat, something around 60 square meters for a modern flat, you would have to pay per month 70 mark, something around that. So, a newspaper would cost 10 Pfennig or 15 Pfennig. This here, I have got one, you see, from the 1980s. You see 15 Pfennig, it was a larger one. So, yeah, in an international one. So, yeah, but I want to tell you also another story. It was in the 1980s, because I just can remember of this story, because someone in my family had wanted to do this, or did it. Let's say it like this. These coins here, Germany was divided. And we had an eastern part, GDR, and we had a western part. And you could not just drive through this border, because the border was highly protected since the 1950s, because a lot of East German people had a high education in Eastern Germany, and then they left for going to the West because the salaries were just better. And back then, the GDR decided to put a border there, put a wall there. Also, the Berlin Wall is very famous. That the people could not leave anymore because they ran out of people. That was really highly educated people. That was really a problem, so they put a border on. So you could leave GDR and you had to get an Ausreisegenehmigung. You have to go to your local police and so on, and it needed years to get the allowance to the paperwork to leave the GDR per right and to move to the western part. It was not very simple, and a lot of people had also to leave their stuff, their things. Then there was another possibility to go to the BRD, to go to the western part of Germany. Simply when you had some relatives, some closer relatives, like an aunt or so, also an uncle, or cousin, you could get a visa for visiting them for a high birthday party also, or if somebody had to be buried or something like this. And this visa was highly searched for, and mostly people who got a pension, for them it was easy to get it, because it was also simple for GDR. It was also a simple thing when these elderly people simply left the GDR because it was cheaper. Okay, I'm back to, but it was like this. And for normal working people, it was not so simple. And the other thing is that there was a little bit of ritual in the 1980s when somebody got this visa for going to the relatives, and he wanted to stay there and leave the GDR and never go back. Then a lot of people simply collected these coins. I made a large bag of them, collected it, and when they left, normally you could not drive with your car, but what you did was you had to go per train for visiting your relatives in the BRD, so in Western Germany. So you collected these coins, and when you left the train station, and you went to your train, you simply had thrown all these coins you had in your bag, you had thrown them on the train station. This was a ritual for people leaving the GDR and did not want to come back. The state later on confiscated all your stuff that you left, and even relatives could not go and get the stuff for you from the person who get the visa and was leaving the GDR. And you had to be very you could not tell this to anybody, because if the state would have noticed that you want to leave the GDR and you did not want to come back, then they would even cancel your visa. So it was something that happened in silent, but the thing with these throwing out the coins at the train station, this was something like a ritual in the 1980s when people had the visa and did not want to come back. Funny story from the same region, another state, another system. And yeah, I hope it was a little bit interesting. And yes, please look for the other videos here in the channel if you're interested in some history props. I'm normally doing movie work and work for movies and renting out props. So yeah, I hope you learned something new today. It was a little bit interesting, and goodbye.